Hi and welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about and highlight some of my favorite small brands and slow fashion designers that I've been seeing on the internet lately and have really been inspiring me from the products they have, the trends and how they choose to follow them in their own ways, their creative direction, photo shoots, and all around just vision. I find so much joy looking at these smaller designers and seeing how they specifically set themselves apart and what they do. Like, some of them are so innovative and some of them really have a story behind their photo shoots and creative direction, and I enjoy the whole narrative. These specific brands have such an amazing connection between their own product and vision to storytelling and really how to build worlds, build characters, and I love that they really hone in on fashion as a means of expression and language towards people, and just some of the most interesting, cool methods of sharing ideas. So let me stop yapping. So the first small brand that I want to talk about is Nova Zoe, aka I Am Nova Zoe. They are a small knitwear designer based in New York City, and they do a lot of custom work and made-to-order pieces, but they'll do a collection or a fashion show every so often to just show off their work in this sort of art show kind of way. Since their pieces are mostly just the custom and made-to-order, I feel like these aren't necessarily showing a ready-to-wear situation where you could just buy endless amounts of what they're showing. It's mostly just to get an idea of where the designer is creatively and what you can expect from their pieces. But I'm absolutely in love with their designs. They do this beautiful, earthy, fairy-like knitwear, and the world that they create is just so magical and ethereal, and it has this sort of dark fae mystique rather than bright colors or cutesy knitwear. It's very storytelling focused, and it absolutely comes to life whenever they do a show. I was recently at their show called Mercury's Review, which was this beautiful zodiac inspired show in this really cool abandoned gymnasium basement setting. The entire show was so beautiful, again, so magical and ethereal. All of the models took on a character. I loved that it was a little bit more theatrical than your basic, like, high fashion brand models walking in a stiff, straight line. It had character and just, like, promoted this whole ethereal, mystical world. And it was so amazing to see. They also had a dancer open the show, and the dancer then did a little improvised closing of the show as well, and the way that this dancer moved was just so beautiful and amazing to see. It truly set the tone for this like slow, like soft and but just magical and powerful zodiac inspired fairy-like worlds. See, I'm just throwing words out there, so I don't know if that's the best description, but you know what I mean. I just like, yeah. And one of my classmates at FIT, Ben, who's a photographer, took the lookbook photos, and I think that his work for these images is just so beautiful. They just look so, the lighting is so gorgeous, how it's like strong and soft at the same time. They're the center of the tension, the contrast is so beautiful. It just looks like a beautiful, like, professional lookbook. I wanted to then build onto the next designer that I want to talk about, which is my mom, and she is a jewelry designer and actually provided Nova and their team. Angie Hines was the stylist and the person that we communicated with. My mom provided the jewelry for all the models. There were a couple jewelry designers featured as well as other accessories, but my mom's jewelry was seen in almost every single look, and it was so amazing. It was just such an amazing experience to even be involved in that, because I don't know, from my perspective, I'm seeing it as like the New York City creatives, we're all just like collaborating with each other, and it's a very standard world for all of us to then just share the creativity. But for my mom, it's like she's not in this same landscape, and seeing her experience a first ever runway show with her pieces in it, and she's also done a photo shoot with the same team for a publication that they do, and just seeing the way that she reacts to it is so sweet. Like, because I guess I could take it for granted, seeing as it's like the normal situation for everyone that's my age, goes to fashion school, works with people on Instagram, things like that, but she was just like so overjoyed about how her jewelry was in a show, how people that would potentially love it get to actually see it, and a spotlight that she's always really wanted. And I was very happy that that worked out, because I don't know, it makes me feel really nice. Her jewelry is mostly, at the moment, focused on precious gemstones in pendant form, rings, bangles, earrings, giant statement necklaces, and also sea glass in that same kind of format. She does soldering and all that stuff downstairs in the basement. And yeah, I wish I knew the technical terms and could just give the right description, but they are just some beautiful, beautiful artisan, very high-end jewelry pieces. And they do also have this crystal, like mystical, earthy, nature, fairy type of vibe to them, so the collaboration between the two was just absolutely perfect. Like, my mom was telling Nova and Angie that she couldn't have imagined a better world for her jewelry to even be a part of, because Nova had set this beautiful mystical scene up, this beautiful ethereal showcase, and yeah, it just worked out very nicely. This is also one of my mom's pieces. So this necklace is from one of her older collections, and they are paintings by Alphonse Mucha. She printed them out on computer paper, put it between two science lab slides, like microscope slides, and then like melted, I'd say soldered, melted or whatever, the metal all around it. And I absolutely have just always loved this organic shape and just the, I think it's Art Nouveau style of it, and I've had it on this like rusty old chain for so long, but I always love this one. I think this one was, yeah, this is spring, because I think he did a 4 seasons. So the models were also wearing these older pieces as well as the new pieces, and my mom also does like really cool elf ear cuffs. A lot of the models were wearing that, and even that just like totally emphasized the fairy tale world. I've just made her Instagram kind of in time for that show, and I'm slowly getting her work from what it is now, where she's just pretty much trying to just do her best and put the work up. She takes really amazing photos of everything, like the lighting and everything is so great, but I'm trying to get the whole website and Instagram layout and aesthetic into a more current and just like, I don't know, modern, sort of minimalist, but Gen Z, small designers looking kind of aesthetic. Slow progress on that, but I am working on it, and if anyone wants to follow her Instagram, that would be very nice, because she deserves all of the attention she gets. Her creations are complete labors of love. She's downstairs all the time just like putting these together with her hands very, very meticulously, and just, yeah, very talented. So give her a follow. The next brand I want to talk about is actually also a jewelry designer. They're based in France. Their name is Justine Clenquet, and I found their pieces on Essence mostly, but then I went into detail on their actual website. I'm really obsessed with just the shapes of their jewelry. They have this sort of futuristic, modern, unique sort of shape to them. I don't know, they just seem to me like classic pieces with a little bit of this like cutting edge futurism. I love where they place the gemstones. I also love that it's mostly silver jewelry. I think out of the two I usually go for silver, but they do mix metals a few times and put a little bit of gold with the silver. I really love that. I am a huge fan of mixing metals. Don't want to hear it. I also like the way that they incorporate current like online trends in their pieces. Like, there are a couple of keychains that kind of look like a big giant piercing, or a big giant, like, it looks like an eyebrow piercing or like a rod of some sort, and it's totally like this giant earring on a bag, but it doesn't look like an earring. It just, you know what I mean? It's like they found a way to bridge their true aesthetic into these little trends, but in a timeless way. What I love about all of these designers is that they do lean into the trends on the internet, but in this beautiful, higher production sort of way, instead of just like throwing them out there because it's like, oh, that's trendy, let's just push it out there. It's like it's really carefully thought out, and they do it in a way that, since it is so careful and beautiful and authentic and true to themselves, they last probably longer than the trends. Or at least I can picture that. I can picture myself getting one of those keychains, putting it on a bag, and just always loving it. Same with their safety pin pieces. There was a ring with a safety pin, and I'm just like, oh my god, I love it. I've always loved safety pins. I've noticed them become a more popular thing or more popular trend lately, but I think that I would always love it, especially because it's not literally just a thrown on safety pin. It's like this beautiful, it just looks so polished and sophisticated. I just love the way that jewelry brands have elevated the look of a safety pin. They also do a bunch of hair accessories, including these silver barrettes with their name on it, and I have like a pack of barrettes from Amazon from like 5 years ago, and I really never wear them. I think it was mostly because of the hairstyle that I have, but you know, with the Justine hair clips, I would totally just make them work. I could literally just put them here and just be done with it. Like, I'd be so down for that. I think they have another couple of chain related hair accessories, and I really want to get more into accessories in general and just different kinds of pieces and where I can put things. Like having a hair clip or just a chain coming off my hair, it would be so cool. I really just want to like enable little accessories and little trinkets to elevate my style and bring those like feminine or just creative elements to life in a way that I don't currently do as much. Yet another jewelry designer, kind of similar in the fact that it's like these organic, rigid silver shapes, but this designer, Chris Habana, is a little bit more edgy and pushes a more theatrical, edgy narrative with his work, and I think that his creative direction shines through so brilliantly, and I love it so much. So these pieces are at a higher end than Justine's pieces, and they're much edgier. I absolutely love his cuffs, especially these ones with the spikes pointing out. They're so cool. He has such an amazing like array of different cuffs and just layered all together with some pointing out, protruding spikes. There's beautiful ear cuffs with all these like spikes happening. I absolutely love it. It's this perfect way to bring in like edgy and scarier looking pieces. His pieces just strike me as the perfect way to bring like edge and little scarier, spookier elements into a really everyday look. I would say if you are dressed really timeless, sophisticated, or chic and want to have that little edge, these jewelry pieces do it so well. Like, picture someone wearing a baby tee and a pair of suit trousers and a pair of loafers. They're going to work, they have a casual work environment, and their arms are loaded up in these spiky, crazy bangles, and they have the spiky earrings, all like that. Maybe they have a piercing somewhere, just like to continue that vibe. It's like suddenly this person who's just going to work has this personality that's like protruding through the day-to-day, but doing it in a way that is so complimentary and just looks so cool. Like, I love when fashion creates such a cool personality. Any way for me to explain that I love fashion as a means of expression and truly showing a visual representation of who you are, I would just always jump on that. I then went onto his Instagram just to see more of the creative idea alongside his products and the catalog online, and I saw that his pieces were featured on Julia Fox and Gwen Stefani recently. I think that's perfect, like branding wise. I think that those two are all about personal style and just a dynamic creative direction in their own work. Like, Gwen Stefani as a musician has always been into innovative fashion ideas from her Harajuku era. I view her as a fashion icon, and Julia Fox as well. She's all about just as this dynamic, intelligent model and creative and actress and a marketing genius in general, and the way that she has always uplifted smaller designers or just really creative people who have made one-offs, also student designers, and I think like she's a good pioneer for what fashion is looking at, or the direction that fashion is going in when it comes to uplifting smaller designers and student designers. And he also had some of his work commissioned for this art show, and these are literally like pierced like arrows. It's intense. It was for a what is the word? Like performative art. Like what is wrong with me? It was this like beautiful, really intense, really like, oh my god, scary performative art piece, and totally the most perfect way to emphasize who he is as a designer, just because it is that narrative. It's like this really sort of sensual, edgy communication between like the body and jewelry. Next designer is this London-based designer called Ancuta Sarca, and they're known for their sporty takes on popular shoe silhouettes, namely like the kitten heels with the sneaker textures, They recently came out with the Honey boot, which is this beautiful slouchy stiletto pointed toe boot, and it's 3D printed so that it has this honey-like texture, and I'm obsessed with it. They also have all those furry boots, and I think that their vision, their creative direction is so amazing and really cool, really innovative, and their recent show was called The Airport. I think it was inspired by like a dystopian sort of airport, and all of the models were, because in fashion presentations, models are usually just rigid, they're just standing there. You're walking around this presentation as opposed to going to a runway show, and the models are just like, there. It's so crazy. Like, I went to one a few years ago, and it was so funny like taking photos of them, because then you'd get a glimpse of them like posing for you, and you're like, oh my god, like hi, like I want to talk to you, because you're like right there, but you're supposed to stand like a statue. It's so interesting. I kind of wish that I could be the little statue moment that these models get to be. I think it's just fun, like performative and just like theatrical, but in the most like simple commercial sense, I guess. But anyway, Ancuta Sarca's airport was full of these models like in their poses. One of them was on the bench, standing in various positions, like they're all making up this dystopian airport world, and just the accessories of the brand, so beautiful, so stunning, and love it. Now I'm gonna take it like backwards from all this maximalism and beautiful creation, artisan work, like, and talk about, I don't even know why I have this in here, because it is such a diversion from everything else, but I wanted to talk about Los Angeles Apparel. Their designs are so basic in a way that I love. Like, they used to be American Apparel, and this is their rebrand. I'm pretty sure that their work is fairly sustainable and just conscious of their waste and what they're producing, but American Apparel and Los Angeles Apparel have a way of showcasing basics in their own creative world. Like, when you're looking at the gallery of all of the pieces on their website, they position these models in a lifestyle and a scenery and a world that the brand really wants to focus on being a part of. So I get this whole cool LA, like, I don't want to go off and say what everyone says, cool girl, like cool girl this is the cool girl that, the cool girl bag, like the cool, like I'm done. Like, this is how everyone markets or talks about any piece of fashion on the internet, and I'm like, we need to think of better things to say, because what is that? But I love the way that the creative direction can take a simple basic piece into whatever world that they see fit. I mean, American Apparel has people in a chokehold. If they were a 2014 Tumblr enthusiast, I know I was, but I was 12 and did not have the adult money to be the world that was being marketed to my little 12-year-old brain. But again, chokehold, so now I love it at 22. I feel like this is my favorite kind of video to do because I just get so excited and so into it. I don't know. I want to collect more pieces from Los Angeles Apparel. I feel like they're known for their quality, their durability over the years, and just being able to blend themselves into every single outfit you want. Like, I'm so about a collection of basics. I talked about it recently in this video, and yeah, I would love a collection of basics in brands whose visions I really believe in. And also, Los Angeles Apparel has a Depop account where they actually post all of their samples. Again, very ethical and conscious about where their waste is going, so they make their samples, whether it's like a stained piece or the cut wasn't perfect, but still wearable pieces. They make them available to people who would want them, but with like maybe $5 off, $10 off the original piece. I think it's great because the same customer basis that we're talking about are people that will go thrifting and get something with a stain on it or a hole in it and be like, oh my god, but I love the piece itself, I don't care. It's cheaper, it's unique, and I can deal with that. I could DIY it. So I mean, talking in the same customer basis, I think it's pretty smart. I mean, yeah, Depop is literally online thrifting, so literally where they're putting it is exactly what people are looking for. The next brand I want to talk about is not a conventional brand at all. I discovered their work through Susie Lola's video back in autumn, but it's this regenerative design accessory brand called Unidentified T-shirt Object, and they make these weird little metallic or colorful structures that are intended to be worn on a t-shirt or wrapped around a t-shirt in a way to like change the form of what the t-shirt would originally look like. I love this concept because it's another way to promote re-wearing and reusing the pieces that you already have, because you can literally change the silhouette of the piece with this random piece of metal. I think that their names are also really cool. They're just so interesting. It's like so like on the nose, but in a cool way. It's so on the nose because literally that is what you're looking at, but it's also like cool. Like how else can I say it but just cool, because I'm sick of cool. But yeah, the design of their website is also gorgeous. I love that they have little instructional guides of graphics on how to wear them, the different ways to wear them, because I think I would get confused of just where to put it. Love the idea of making one piece of clothing re-wearable in so many different ways, create so much creativity and inspiration to just not discard that piece of clothing because you wore it once. I mean, we should always just be comfortable wearing the same piece of clothing over and over again, but if you want to be interesting and different and don't want to feel like you're re-wearing that piece, this is an amazing object. Now, I really love the idea of latex, but not in like the fetish sort of way that latex is usually perceived. I feel like it's such an interesting material and I would love to see it incorporated in like a regular fashion look a little bit more. So this brand, I'm just gonna look at my computer for this because I have like so many, I have so many notes on this. So this brand, Soft Skin Latex, they're based in the UK, is really cool to me because they do a diverse range of, yes, the classic like bodysuits and underwear and corsets, but they also do things like a rubber like trench coat. I love that it's this very perfect bridge between that world and the world of just being able to wear a unique fashion piece on the go. Like a rubber coat, like a trench coat, is so big and frumpy that you wouldn't really associate it with those scenarios, but it is so much like interesting. Like the material, you're like, why is it rubber? Like it's just, I don't know. I love texture and material and the way that fabrics and materials communicate with each other and layer on top of each other. I also loved their hats and accessories. I love the way that their rain cap and the trench coat work so perfectly as this like England escaping the rain look, even though it's literally latex pieces. The little accessories are so cool that you don't have to be so on the nose with like a latex look. They could just be a subtle little bracelet or a neck piece with a normal outfit. Again, it's that idea of just like wearing what you'd wear to somewhere like, I don't know, work, and then all of a sudden you're wearing this like weird rubber material bracelet. Like, I don't know, it's cool to me. And no, I'm not going into that whole like wearing ridiculous stuff to work thing that people on the internet seem to talk about when it comes to the office siren. I'm literally being like kind of loose with these interpretations. Like you don't have to think work. I'm just like, it came to my mind. Chill office space, let's say. Maybe you work in corporate fashion. They also have a section where you can actually buy like a bag of their scraps and just leftover latex pieces after they've done their collection, which is so cool because I can imagine so many people using these for collages, patchwork, like their own creative projects, and just having access to these scraps for a cheap price. I think they were like listed as £1 plus shipping. Like that's literally just so that the brand knows that they're not contributing to waste in the same way that many designers and the fashion industry in general does. So that's really nice. Like having that literally just for the purpose of being environmentally conscious, and people can benefit artistically from it, so that's pretty cool. Now we have Urte cat. I don't know if that's the best way to pronounce, but love their designs, their overall concept and creative direction. I love the way that they have pieces that have like weird spiky shoulders, and just like that's becoming a little popular thing among like London. This brand is not from London, but I see a lot of like London brands have that little like spiky texture in like knitwear or just like softer materials in general. They also have such cool ways of layering, as their constructions are so unique and interesting, such as like these open shirts and the way that the pants will have like this separate belted area that comes over the shirt. I love it. I just love the ability to just layer in cool ways. I think layering is one of my favorite aspects of fashion and creativity and like silhouettes, and even just feeling a little bit more creative in seasons like the spring where you don't have much capability of stacking up a bunch of cool fabrics together and telling that story. Like when you have little like innovative brands coming out with ways to layer in brand new ways, brand new seasons, warmer seasons, I love it. Their pieces are made to order, but they have the collection shown on the website. And then finally, I want to talk about this online vintage seller called Darina, and her website is called Darina's Garms. She sells a lot of vintage boxing boots, Nike, Diesel, you name it, Fenty, Puma, Miss 60. And she has a lot of the Isabel Marant wedge boots and sneakers, and I'm just like, I really want a pair of those. They're so cool. But I love the way that she categorizes her sections. Like there's a section for the Adidas Nike sort of boxing boots, then there's Diesel bags. Like it's all really put together nicely in beautiful little sections. Also, I love a little tiny marketing touch that she does where her Instagram is actually called Diesel Slave, which is very much like keywords, punchy phrasing, especially for this niche in fashion. Everyone loves the brand Diesel, vintage Diesel, Miss 60 and all that. So that really strikes people who are into that, and literally the target audience. When I saw Diesel Slave, I was like, ooh, I need to look, and I see this beautiful, beautiful collection of these boxing boots. So it's cool to me that the Instagram is called Diesel Slave. So it captures the audience, and then when you really are making that connection to then purchase the product, you have her name, and now you're like closer. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't intentional to that extent, maybe it was just what was available, but I like that. I think that works as a nice little marketing progression. And I also like that more of her personal images are mixed in on Instagram. I feel like that makes her feed a more interactive and fun space that people would just want to follow. And yeah, those are all of the small brands and slow fashion designers that I wanted to talk about that I'm currently watching and hoping to get pieces from, and that I want you guys to know about, because I love the way that these brands view clothing and the creative process. So I'm gonna wrap it up here, and subscribe, like, and leave a comment if you enjoyed this video, and I hope you had a great day. If you'd like to also follow along with more of my creative projects, such as my daily outfits or my editorial photography or my editorial styling, you can follow my Instagram and TikTok, blah blah blah, if you want, and I will see you in the next one.